All right, so part 2 of comparing Vanguard S&P 500, VFINX, to the Vanguard Treasury Inflated Protected Securities Mutual Fund, VIPSX, that you can see behind me. And you can see all the chicken scratch. I am the king of chicken scratch, your old buddy Josh here at Heritage Wealth Planning YouTube channel. So if you like what you see, subscribe, comments, thumbs up. That always helps me with our YouTube algorithm overlords. So don't forget to do that and subscribe. I think I just said that. So we're going to revisit what we've done here. So the last episode we just looked at VIPSX versus VFINX. And we had $100,000, and we essentially we didn't use these two. The far right, the last two columns, the far left, the last two columns, we did not use. We just said at the end of the day, after 2001 until 2017, $100,000 in the S&P 500 was worth $282,000 at the end of 2017. $100,000 in the inflated protectory securities was worth $232,000 at the end of 2017. All right, but what I wanted to do is I want to start saying what happens if we take distributions off. Now we're going to use 5% a year. And we're going to use 5% a year as opposed to the old 4% rules, because I take issue a lot of times with that 4% rule. First and foremost, the first thing is inherent to me is if you're paying some guy 1% a year, you better be doing a 5% withdrawal rate anyway, simply because 4% is net of, 4% is gross of any fees or taxes. And if you're going to throw taxes on there, you might as well throw another 12 to 22%, which would give you basically 5 to 5.5% withdrawal rate when you throw in taxes. So I use 5%. Secondly, I don't like the 4% rule simply because it is a safe withdrawal rate. What they use that for in the past is what is the minimum or the maximum you can take without ever running out of money. I mean, come on. If you're taking 4% a year off and you're never worried about running out of money, that's one thing. But are you living that comfortably? What if you took 5% a year off and you had a couple trying years when you're 84, 85? Well, guess what? Just tighten your belt, for heaven's sake. I mean, just stop spending so much and you'd be just fine. I've never understood the idea of let's take less on the front end so we can save up more on the back end of retirement when we're old and don't want to spend it. That's not enjoyable to me. So use 5%. You're going to be fine. Just remember, if you use 5%, there could be some time, 20% of the time, that you run out of money according to Monte Carlo scenarios. Don't care. Because this goes to my third issue with the 4% rule and safe withdrawal rate. The idea that you're going to gradually spend each and every year adjusted for inflation, there's just no validity to that, none whatsoever. And my man Ty Bernicki, who I've never met, emailed him a couple times, back and forth a long time ago. But again, the guy who wrote the seminal article on what happens with real retirement spending using the BLS numbers, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and their Consumer Expenditure Survey. And what we found is, in the first part of retirement, your spending goes up a little bit, and then it drops when you hit in your 80s and then late 70s and I guess it was mid 70s and mid 80s. It dropped significantly for the vast majority of people. When that first came out, a lot of people poo-pooed it. Jonathan Clements from the Wall Street Journal, he challenged it to some degree, and now we fast forward 15 odd years. And that is now well established in the financial planning industry that most people's spending doesn't go like this on a trajectory to the northeast. Most people's goes like that. And so the 4% rule assumes that, A, we're never going to run out of money. We want to make sure we never run out of money ever. And then B, your spending is going to go up in each and every year adjusted for inflation. It's just, don't do that to yourself. I mean, from a broad-based financial planning perspective, that's fine. But for when it comes to you, my subscriber here on YouTube, that's silliness. Don't do that. Just do something more realistic. And so we're going to use the 5%, which I like. What else was I going to say? I guess that's pretty much it on that. So in this case, we're taking 5% a year off the portfolio. And I want to see what it looks like at the end of 2017. We're starting at 2001 because that's when the VIPSX was inception date, was 2001, and we're going to do 5% a year off each and every year of the portfolio balance, not 5% from the front end, but 5% each and every year adjusted for the market performance, not adjusted for inflation, just based on the market performance. And we're going to see what we're looking like. So here's the S&P 500. So we start the year with $100,000. The first year the market is down 11.98, so it leaves us with $88,000 in there. We're going to take 5% off that $88,000, and that will be $4,401 is what we take out of the portfolio. Subtract $4,401 from $88,020, and that leaves us with $83,619. The following year, $83,619. Now, we don't really need to pay any attention to this anymore because now we're taking withdrawals. This third column is not taking withdrawals, so you don't need to pay any attention to it anymore. Probably should have erased it, but that's okay. So we're taking this number here, 83,619. We're losing 22% on that, all right? So now we get 83,619 minus 22%, which gives us 3,250 we can withdraw from the portfolio because that's 5%. And after we subtract 22% from this minus 3,250, we're left with $61,747. So 2 years out of retirement, we start with $100,000. We've taken all of, was that $7,700 roughly? No, $7,600, and we're left with almost $40,000 left because of the markets. Yeesh. All right, so now we start fast forward, we start getting some growth. And so now by the time 2007 comes, we're basically right back where we started at 44.01 in the first year. We're at 45.88, which is still 5%, less than 5% of the initial amount. I mean, $100,000 in 2001, you would have thought we could take $5,000. That's not true. We're now down to 45.88, and our portfolio value is 87,175. So those first 2 years really, really killed us. We're not taking much from the portfolio, and we still have 13% less in the overall portfolio than we did to start with. And that's bad. And then 2008 hits, and all hell breaks out. We're down 37%. We got to take 5% of that, whatever this amount here is, 87,175 minus 37%. 5% off that is $2,700. We are literally down to half, almost half of what we started with. And our portfolio value in this case is about half of what we started with at $100,000. So 8 years in, my friends, we are down to $52,000 in our total portfolio, and we've taken all of $2,700 the preceding year. That's just that's bad news. All right, so then we start getting some good years. We go up again, and finally, at the end of 2017, we have 21%. So we ended up 2016, with $95,000 in there. We had a great year in 2017, so we take $95,000 times 21.93% minus 5% of that, which is 6205, and we're finally back above 101. That's 2016, excuse me. We're finally back to 101, and then at the end of 2017, we're at 117. So it took till the end of 2016 before we got back to $100,000. And at the end of 2017, when we took 6,200, it doesn't quite correspond, but just you hear me out. So at the end of 2017, we're able to take out 6,207, and we were left with a portfolio value of $117,000. All right, so again, we started with $100,000. We had all these trials and tribulations. We never broke back above $100,000 until the end of 2016. And we only were able to break $6,000 of income, and that's $500 a month in any 1 year, and that's the end of 2017. And I assure you that's going to drop again as of 2018 closes. So all this, we have $17,000 more than what we put in, and we're able to take $72,000 out of the portfolio when all was said and done. Yikes. All right, so let's go to the VIPSX. This is the Vanguard Inflation Protected Securities Fund. And I tell you, I'm a fan of it. There's no getting around this. And again, this was new to me because my disdain for bonds and bond funds in particularly. But I'm a fan of this. And we're going to show you more reasons why to incorporate this in your own retirement plan. And here, front part and parcel right here. And don't forget, at the end of the day, without taking withdrawals, Vanguard Inflation Protected Securities never fell below our initial $100,000 ever. In fact, it beat the S&P 500 up until 2016. So if you just did nothing but dump $100,000 into this and into that, the Vanguard Inflation Protected Fund was worth more until the last 2 years. And we'll see what happens in 2018, but I have a feeling it's going to be pretty close at the end of 2018 as well. So, I mean, we're talking 20 years, my friends. That's a lot. All right, so now the first year, the Vanguard S&P 500, $100,000 was up 7.61%. It grew to 107. 5% of 107 is 5381. At the end of the day, it was down to, we had 102. So taking $5,300 a year off that year, And we still were left in the black at 102,230. Now, if you will, when did we ever get in the S&P 500 5381? Only right here, 2016. We got 53.58. So the first year alone, because we didn't get killed in the market sequence of return risk, we got 53.81. It took for the S&P 500 15 years to get to that same amount of income stream. Nuts. So 53.81, we're left in the black at 102, where the S&P 500 only had 44.01 and left deep in the red at 83. All right, so to do the next thing, we're at 59.64. We got 113,000. The next year, we're at 61.19. We got 116,000, and so on and so on. And so basically, we're average now. Here in 2008, we started at 117. We were down 2.85. We took 5% off that amount, which is 57.26. So we're down to 108.75. All right, so look. 108.75 with $5,700 of income. S&P 500, 51.92 with $2,700 of income. There's no, which would you rather be? There's just no other way around that. No other way around it. Now, people say, yeah, but what about from 2008 on? Well, exactly. So 2008 on, we're up 10, we're up 6, we're up 13, we're up 6, we're down 9 here. All right, so here our income went from 66.33 to 57.40, and we're only left with $109,000 in our portfolio. But let's fast forward over here. This is in 2013. The S&P 500 only gave us $4,800 of income at that point, and it was down to 92.01. So we're still ahead of the S&P 500, even after the S&P 500 had 27, 14, 2, 15, 32, 13, and we had not nearly as much, but we got hit pretty hard at 8.92, and yet we're still significantly ahead of income and of portfolio value. It's not even debatable. Now we got hit again, 1.83. And so our income went from 66.33 in 2012 to 52.80 in 2015. So we took a pay cut, no other way around that, but we still got $100,000 in the portfolio. All right, so when all is said and done, we have $97,291 in the portfolio, and we're able to take out $99,993. So basically, we took out $100,000, we started with $100,000, and we're left with basically $100,000. Here, we took out $72,000, we started with $100,000, and we're left with $117,000. Which would you rather be? There's just no two ways around that. I'd rather be this guy right here, bar none. Now, again, we're starting in the premise when the market was getting hammered, for sure. And so one of these days, maybe we'll start with the premise when the market is going up. But no one cares when the market is going up. People are happy in the market going up. The issue is when the market goes south. Now, I will say what people care is FOMO, fear of missing out. So if you started in this guy in 2009 with the Treasury inflated protected securities, and I started with this guy, the S&P 500 in 2009, I am significantly ahead of you because I was all in stocks, you were all in Treasury inflated bonds. And you were getting 10, I was getting 27. You were getting 6, I was getting 14. I got 32.343 when you were down 9%. And see, that's the FOMO thing. You're like, man, I should have never bought this Treasury bond fund because the guy in the S&P 500 is he's just living life, buying it, he's got gold-plated jewelry and whatnot and going on to, lighting cigars with $100 bills, and here I am eating ramen noodles. Well, hey, you're still going to be okay. I mean, you're up 10, 6, 13, 6, down 9, up 4, down 2, up 5, up 3. Here you have 27, 15, 2, 16, 32, 13, 1, 12, and 21. What's going to happen in 2008? This guy's going to be pained, and this guy won't be nearly as pained. Now, what we'll do is we're going to combine the two in our next video. We're going to combine the two to see what they look like when you combine them. You got a pretty good idea. It's not going to be rocket science here, but you got the yin versus yang. You got the yin, you got the yang. You got the yin, you got the yang. You got the yin, you got the yang, you got the yin, you got the yang. That's exactly what you want to see in a portfolio. The yin and the yang, and the yin and the yang. And when you do that, you can protect against your downside, in particular in the front end, which I'll show you here in the next video. You're going to be in a pretty good place when it comes to your retirement planning to be able to take 5% a year out. All right, don't forget to subscribe down below. As always, you like what you see here, thumbs up, comments, the whole thing, and stay tuned because we got a couple more episodes just like this. We'll see you next time.